Good evening, everyone, and welcome to New Year, New Stuhr, a virtual annual report experience. My name is Rob Nelson, Assistant Curator here at Stuhr Museum.
And I'm Scout.
And we would like to welcome you to a first-of-its-kind virtual annual report experience. But warning, we will not be talking charts and graphs tonight.
But I love charts and graphs. They have pretty colors and numbers. Oh, and some of them look like pieces of pie.
Yes, they absolutely do. But tonight we're really going to delve into some of the more interesting and exciting things that have been happening here at Stuhr Museum over the last 12 months. And there's quite a lot to talk about. We'll also be talking about masks and plexiglass shields and all other sorts of things that have been happening here at Stuhr Museum due to COVID. As you can see, our staff are wearing masks, and Bonnie and Chris, when I introduce them in a second, will also be using a plexiglass screen during their conversation. So without any further ado, why don't I throw it over to Chris Hochstetler and Bonnie Smith, the directors of Stuhr Museum and Stuhr Museum Foundation.
Woohoo!
Hi, I'm Chris Hochstetler. I'm the Executive Director of the Stuhr Museum.
And I'm Bonnie Smith, the Executive Director of the Stuhr Museum Foundation. I'd like to welcome you to our first ever live annual report. We are so excited to share the many positive changes that are taking place at Stuhr Museum, including the beautiful brand mark that you saw at the beginning of our presentation. And we'll expand on that later in the evening. But first, we thought it would be helpful to talk about who we are and what we want to become.
Thank you, Bonnie. We are Stuhr Museum of the Prairie Pioneer, and we are about visitors. Visitors to Stuhr Museum are our reason for existing. We exist to preserve and portray the vital history of our region. It is the story of America, and we are a repository for the DNA that is the American experience. It is up to us to change the way that we preserve and portray the vital history into a more immersive, interactive, unique, dynamic, exciting, and inclusive experience for all our visitors. This experience is necessary. When you experience Stuhr Museum, you are really discovering your identity as an American and using that experience to inform your present and future in a very critical way.
You are. And speaking of critical, simply put, the Stuhr Museum Foundation provides support to the Stuhr Museum while providing donors, stakeholders, and supporting organizations the opportunity to make a significant difference in a meaningful way.
The Stuhr Museum and Stuhr Museum Foundation, our trustees, staff, donors, visitors, volunteers, our county, and our community all share a common goal: to become the best living history museum in our country. We embarked on that journey a year ago, and we've made significant progress to that goal despite a global pandemic.
In order to realize our goal of becoming the best living history in the country, Chris and I worked closely with our tremendously committed trustees to establish guiding principles that would shape our efforts. They are referred to as our We Will statements, and some very special people will be sharing these principles with you throughout our presentation.
Much of what we talk about tonight as we discuss this journey that we'll be on, and we'll share that with you, about our passion for that goal of becoming the best living history museum in the country, why that's important, and how we're going to get there together. With the visitor at the center of what we do, we will change the experience to be one that is based on high quality experiential programming and not events. We want the daily experience at Stuhr Museum to rival that of any organization in the country and to defy expectations and compel visitors to return time and time again to be a part of it.
We will develop a year-round experience.
So we will seek public feedback and welcome criticism and ideas.
We will continue to leverage technology to increase efficiencies and outreach.
We will incorporate digital opportunities to engage schools and people across the country.
I was lucky enough to be a part of some of those virtual events this year. The Stir Crazy podcast, shameless plug, we definitely launched this year to great fanfare, and we hope to keep it going in the months and years to come. Also, the Artifact of the Day series, as well as Brainiac Bowls that we broadcast live to the entire Hall County community, all came way during this COVID experience, and we've all been really grateful for all of those opportunities. Chris and Bonnie, can you walk us through some of the important changes that technology has played in the Stuhr Museum, the Stuhr Museum Foundation this year?
Absolutely. If 2020 taught us anything, It definitely illustrated how important technology has become in our private lives and in our work lives. In 2019, in conjunction with our wonderful Stuhr team, a lot of whom are here tonight and we'd like to thank for their help in making this presentation possible, we created a volunteer IT panel that consists of local IT managers from Chief, GIPS, Hornady, Geeks Office Plus, and this group of experts guided our technological path, and thank goodness they did. Their work enabled us to start 2020 by replacing our 20-year-old technology, including updated workstations and telephones across the entire campus. This would prove instrumental in allowing our work to continue throughout the pandemic and positioning us for success during a very challenging year.
It really did. That work even included a campus-wide database change that allowed us to offer point-of-sale features, membership, admissions to the museum, fundraising, program management. It really enhanced our entire effort across this beautiful 230-acre campus, with including fiber connection. In addition, I wanted to talk about our new website, StuhrMuseum.org, and acknowledge Chip Thompson and as well our entire marketing team for their work with Idea Bank Marketing to reimagine what that website and what our brand looks like, which is really in keeping with the changes here at Stuhr Museum.
Absolutely. And as we know, technology is incredibly interlaced throughout our daily life. There are many ways that museums can become more interactive, more innovative in leveraging technology and expanding their footprint across the country. Tonight's presentation is entirely possible because of strategic forethought and sound investment by our boards and community stakeholders to provide up-to-date technology. We couldn't have done it without them.
No, we couldn't have. And technology is really becoming a vital part of enhancing the vibrant experience at museums, including things like augmented and virtual realities, where you can interact with exhibitions and with artifacts. I always harken back to the wine bottle that's out there. I think it's 19 Criminals, where you can go, if you go to wine shopping and you look at a bottle of wine, you can pass your phone over the label and Al Capone can actually start to speak with you from the wine label across your phone. Those are the types of things that we can do in museums now to really enhance that visitor experience, including things like holographic technology, QR codes and mapping, and even self-guided tours.
That's true. And some of the QR codes were noted in our invitation for this event. We strive to provide an inclusive environment and create barrier-free spaces for all. We will continue to utilize technology as a tool to achieve that goal.
We really do, and that's no more evident than when the pandemic hit us and we had to close our doors in March of this year. We rallied the staff and created some really dynamic virtual programming, virtual offerings, and we served over 32,000 people that were impacted by our virtual programming from March to June of 2020, including kids as well as shut-in senior citizens.
Did you say kids? I got to meet so many kids by going on adventures in Railroad Town, and then those videos were posted on the interwebs. I love learning with people that way, but I can't wait to keep learning with them through videos and hopefully in person. Yay!
It was great to be a part of so many virtual events as a staff member here this year. We did things like virtual receptions with the Grand Island Visitors Bureau, a partnership with the AARP, a virtual hats program with ThingLink, the Artifact of the Day series, the Stuhr Museum podcast, Brainiac Bowl, partnerships with Steeple Brewing and Wave Pizza. We had an event on campus that was COVID friendly with the Matthew DeBoer, our artist in residence, for an exhibit. We did so much and so much more beyond what I'm even mentioning. With regard to tech and campus infrastructure, I'd like to ask Bonnie and Chris if you would share some of the experiences that you're expecting people to be able to enjoy when they ultimately return to the Stuhr Museum grounds.
I most definitely can, Rob. Thank you for that. In addition to technological infrastructure, we've invested a lot in just infrastructure here on the campus. Some of that was from deferred maintenance that included, a deferred maintenance period that included our efforts on the Stuhr building itself when that that restoration and that remodel of the Stuhr building that was such a large project for so long. This allowed us to catch up with getting some of the railroad town back into shape, so to speak. I know that people who visit railroad town will see that there's a lot of work that is done every year to try to make sure that it is as pristine as possibly can be. These buildings that are more than 100 years old, most of them were never really designed to have tens of thousands of people walking through them every year. So it does take a Herculean effort by our staff and our committees and our board and our volunteers to make sure that that maintenance just is ongoing. And we've done much this year regarding the roads, as well as the roofs of some of our structures, Bonnie.
Absolutely. And as we've looked for deferred maintenance and we've looked to achieve those goals, the foundation has looked for new and meaningful ways to support the museum and provide funds for infrastructure updates. Because they are imperative, in 2019, we created the Raise the Roof campaign in order to fund $96,000 worth of roof repairs. And then in 2020, when we needed to fund a need for our cabins, our irreplaceable 1860s road ranch, we created the Cash for Cabins campaign and recruited 5 wonderful and generous men to become our mustache ambassadors. And I think there might be a mustache ambassador in the room. Raise your hand. And the effort resulted in over $45,000 in donations in just 24 hours. We really look to be very creative in funding the needs here at Stuhr Museum.
And we are very grateful for that. And that type of support helped us with our facades in Railroad Town, as well as some other changes that you'll see, like heat in the farm machinery building, where visitors can actually go and see this wonderful deep collection of antique farm equipment all year long now, and not just in the more temperate months, including generous donations from Kale Heating and Air that help to heat our gatehouse.
Absolutely. We rely on our community's generosity. We rely on in-kind gifts, and we also rely on donations internally. Our incredibly talented and hardworking staff commit not only their time and their talent to Stuhr Museum, but also their hard-earned dollars. Their commitment provides the foundation, our ability to achieve the overall mission. As we look to improve and expand our capacity, it was our very own team that suggested moving the Taylor Ranch settlement and utilizing the historic structures to provide desperately needed expanded, climate-controlled classroom space.
We are so excited about that.
For area children. And through the generosity of Pepe and Norm Barr, and with a 6-figure investment from Peter Kiewit Foundation, we were able to make this project a reality. And as a matter of fact, the house has been relocated as we speak. They made a mile-long trek from 281 over to Railroad Town, and it is now sitting very majestically at the end of Railroad Town. And generous donations from funders were not limited to this specific project. With our technology effort, we received donations from Cooper Foundation, Glade Foundation, Kaufman Cummings Foundation, along with significant investment from Stuhr Museum and the foundation itself.
That's right, Bonnie. And we have very active volunteer committees here, and their conversations are leading to action as we speak in things like a discussion about campus-wide conveyance. How do we better get people around our wonderful campus to see all of the attractions and to participate in the wonderful programming that we actually have ongoing out here at Stuhr Museum every single day? That would include things like ADA accessibility and making sure that we can have that accessibility for folks across our campus. An example of that would be that we actually have a fully functioning ADA accessible outhouse at the Peter Stuhr House currently.
That was built by an Eagle Scout.
It sure was. And it also includes things like inclusion and how can we make everyone feel welcome here at Stuhr Museum.
Yeah, we want to include all people so that we can all learn together. We want to be as accessible as possible, even for people with puppets. Although, I'm not really sure who's bringing puppets to a museum, but oh well, we'll be accepting of them too. Yay!
You're right, Scout. In addition to inclusion, though, we want everyone to be able to take part in our virtual programming, and we want everyone to be able to experience programming on our grounds as well. We also want everyone to become a part of Stuhr Museum's lasting legacy. Bonnie, can you tell us about how folks can do that?
Absolutely. That's right, Scout. Just as each person is unique, their wishes for leaving a lasting legacy are unique. Our team is thoroughly committed to fulfilling donor vision. I believe it is the Foundation's responsibility to create meaningful avenues of support for our donors and in turn provide ample funding to Stuhr Museum so that they are able to vision forward and succeed. We do so by expanding our vision. And recently we expanded our vision of what the scholarship program would look like. We did so in collaboration with Grand Island Public Schools and created an alumni scholarship in memory of McKenna Melhan, a higher education scholarship in memory of two wonderful mothers, Jo West and Gretchen Dinsdale. We continue to create flexibility and innovation in funding museum needs by creating engaging campaigns, including Raise the Roof with the Mustache Ambassadors, the Cash for Cabins with the Beard Brigade, and we will be recruiting for our Beard Brigade shortly. And coming soon, should I share this, Chris?
Yes, please do.
The Full Steam Ahead campaign. Bart and Marla Bartenbach, whose family has been community members for generations and staunch Stuhr supporters, will chair our 2021 annual fund drive that kicks off at the end of January. Community support is imperative in ensuring that we are able to continue delivering our mission. Call County has been a significant partner in this effort. Chris, can you expand on how important our local county is to our success?
I sure can. We all know that organizations have really struggled throughout this pandemic, not just here locally, but across our state and across our country. And I would say that were it not for Hall County and the Hall County commissioners who voted to fully fund us back in July of this year, it would have been a real struggle for Stuhr Museum. And we're really grateful that they did that. It provided critical funding when we needed it most. But it also prompted other folks to look at Stuhr Museum and give to us to ensure that we could get through this pandemic, including organizations that are outside of our community. We had a foundation in Omaha that really stepped up in a major way to support us with critical COVID funding, and we're deeply grateful. You know, delivering more and higher quality mission through an enhanced visitor experience will always be returned in higher fundraising and funding opportunities.
Whoa. Did somebody say fundraising?
Fundraising can be fun when we work together, Scout. On that front and so many others, the museum and foundation are interconnected. It is that collaboration that is going to take us to an even broader audience.
It will, Bonnie. Collaboration is key to expanding our footprint. And when we do that intentionally, nationwide, based on many years of visitors finding us by accident, so to speak, it will yield funding opportunities from outside of our community that will not only help Stuhr Museum, but it's going to help our county and our community at large.
Yes, it will. And as we are able to impact lives, we are able to build alumni tour programs. And so the foundation is looking to create an alumni organization. We are able to realize opportunities for our community to support this truly special campus. Time and time again, I've visited with parents and grandparents who experienced Stuhr Museum educational programming as a child, and now their children or grandchildren are attending our one-of-a-kind programming and building lifelong memories.
Programming and fundraising are always tied very closely together. Collaboration is key to everything that we do here at Stuhr Museum. Some people do not recognize that Stuhr Museum and the Stuhr Museum Foundation are one family, but formally we're two separate legal organizations. Stuhr Museum delivers the mission, and Stuhr Museum Foundation supports the delivery of that mission. Therefore, it's critical to have collaboration on everything that we do. Constant director and board contact, crossover in board committees, and thoughtful planning.
Excuse me? What does collaboration mean?
That means getting things done together, Scout.
Oh, so it means working together to make something even better than you ever could have made it on your own. Yay!
Museums are traditionally siloed and sometimes never reach their full potential because of a lack of collaboration. Curatorial must collaborate with education and interpretation, as well as administration. Everything that we do is a tapestry and must be woven together with a vision to how one thing impacts or can be made better by including others. Community collaboration is critical in strengthening mission delivery through other nonprofit partners, corporate partners, the county, the city, and our visitors.
We also celebrate collaboration of private businesses, organizations, and individuals in fundraising. As we look to 2021 and enthusiastically
Yay!
welcome our visitors back on site, we will begin to work with area restaurateurs, farmers, artisans to plan our annual farm to table scheduled for, shameless plug, September 18th, 2021. So please save the date. There are also key corporate donors who ensure our capacity to thrive. For 2021, they are Beaver Creek Marketing for annual fund drive. And for 2020, Pinnacle Bank and Union Bank and Trust made a significant difference in our ability to continue our work.
They did. And as we expand our footprint, so does that collaboration group.
We will create barrier-free spaces to better accommodate all visitors.
We will make strides to become more inclusive.
We will create educational experiences for adults.
We will cultivate a culture of yes.
So making our mission accessible and inclusive for every single person, family, or child to partake in. I would share a little bit of my own personal story. When I was born and raised here in Grand Island, I was born to a homeless woman, and we were homeless throughout my childhood. I remember the couple of times that I got to come to Stuhr Museum. It was sometimes a little intimidating, coming up to the large, beautiful Stuhr building. It was very palatial, and at times I felt like I didn't belong. And we don't want any child or visitor here at Stuhr Museum to ever feel like they don't belong here. I know you have another story to share with us.
I do. We want to make certain that children know that they are welcome here, and that we remove barriers to participation. So we are literally in the midst of launching our alumni scholarship in honor of McKenna Milhan. McKenna was a beautiful and sassy little redheaded girl who deeply loved Stuhr Museum almost as much as she loved taking care of others. She was generous beyond her capacity, giving away the coat off of her back, and she experienced many challenges, but was ultimately called home much too early. Her wish was to provide for others, and her scholarship will remove barriers so that other children who want to participate are able to do so.
And you know that McKenna was a living history apprentice here, I believe. And that really involves doing things here at Stuhr Museum that are experiential, immersive, unique, and dynamic. Museums are not places to come and see. They really are places to come and do.
Obviously, this place is so special and has so much to do. I mean, where else is there a whole town that looks like it's from the 1890s and you can use your imagination and pretend to be part of that history? It's so special!
Special like you, Scout, you're right. Stuhr Museum is a magical place and is special and unique, just like you. As our creative and imaginative Stuhr teams, alongside our hardworking boards, reimagine how we connect with our visitors and how we engage with people to provide amazing experiences, we will also reimagine mission delivery. The foundation will reimagine opportunities for funding our exciting work, and we have so many reasons to be excited.
We really do. We truly need to treasure what we have here in Stuhr Museum, and we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it in our community, in our state, and also nationally. There's no better positioned museum in the country, I believe, than we are to succeed. And when we do, it's going to be a huge win for our county and for our community as well. Mission delivery is about the visitor and the visitor experience. Stuhr Museum is not the focus of what we do. The visitor at Stuhr Museum is the focus of what we do. Reimagine with us what we can become.
We can reimagine together! Yay!
You're absolutely right, Scout and Chris. We are looking forward to being together with you here at Stuhr Museum soon. In the meantime, let's connect with the folks watching right now. Rob, are there any questions we can answer?
What specifically are you looking for as a part of campus-wide conveyance?
I guess I'll take that one. A campus-wide conveyance is an ongoing discussion for us, and we are looking at various ways, Rob, and thank you for that question, of how we can more efficiently and effectively get people around the campus. When I first got here, there was really a lot of talk about the train and what that meant. And it was a sad day when the train went away for our community. And that is part of the discussion, but we're also talking about discussion around people movers, maybe some vintage transportation in other forms than a train. People movers can involve horses, they can involve tractors. And we're actually going to test some of that out this summer. So make sure you get to Stuhr Museum this summer and partake in some of the people movers and let us know what you think about how they are helping to get you around the campus. We've also got some other things that we're looking at with conveyance that I think are very exciting.
Well, and if you are interested in being provided barrier-free spaces, call the Stuhr Museum and ask us about how you can get around.
That's right. That's a great point, Bonnie.
Another question. How are Stuhr Museum and the foundation doing financially during this pandemic?
Do you want to take that one, Bonnie?
I would love to answer that question. So the Stuhr Museum Foundation is rooted in Stuhr history. As we look to ensuring that Stuhr Museum is able to operate on an ongoing basis, our board has really done some strategic planning to make certain that we were in a position to succeed. 2020 was a difficult year. It was a difficult year for fundraising. It was a difficult year for everyone in so many different ways, but certainly with regard to fundraising. We looked to our boards, we looked to our community, and our community really rose to the occasion. But our annual fund drive campaign eked by its goal, just barely, but that was because of that community support. That was because of that vision of our trustees to ensure that we had additional funding if we needed it.
And on the operational side of things, we actually, it was a tough year. We ran throughout the year at about 40% of our normal attendance. And that meant that things like the gift shop sales and admissions revenue and food in Railroad Town, all of that was reduced revenue for us, and that was tough. And I mentioned again our gratitude to the county for fully funding us, because that prompted other funders to step in and kind of fill that void with some relief funding that alleviated a little bit of that revenue loss from that 40% attendance. A great way that you can support Stuhr Museum operationally is just continue with your membership. We are offering a 15-month for 12-month purchase price on our memberships currently, and we'll do that for the rest of the year, our fiscal year, up into July, so that we can make sure that the members who have supported Stuhr Museum so well will continue to have some of those benefits that will extend beyond the pandemic, we hope, and they'll get to realize some of that, the benefits of that purchase price. But as always, folks can go, folks who love Stuhr Museum, they can go to our website and they can donate and they can support through our foundation, our operations. And we're so grateful that they did that through the pandemic, and it actually kept us running.
It really did. And we are uniquely positioned for our members to be able to come on site to our 230-acre campus and really be safe.
That's right. That's right. It is a great opportunity for our community, because Stuhr Museum is relatively a safe environment during this pandemic. You could at times find yourself a whole acre apart from someone else. So it brings a whole new meaning to social distancing, right?
Yes, it does.
Or physical distancing, maybe not socially distant. We also made some pretty difficult decisions throughout the pandemic. And I would share, we actually had to furlough quite a few staff members, not only once, but twice during this pandemic. And they approached that with a lot of grace. Just recently, we were able to welcome back some of those staff members to Stuhr Museum in an effort to really get ready for the spring. And we hope that people will take advantage of these wide open spaces at Stuhr, and they will actually come see us in the spring.
And the last question we're going to be covering tonight: why would you change your brand and website during a pandemic/shutdown?
Why wouldn't you not change your brand in a pandemic and a shutdown? No, it's a great question, Rob, and I guess I'll take a stab at that, or take a swing at that question. We really are changing here at Stuhr Museum. We are, and the pandemic actually was part of that change. I think back at the virtual programming that we engaged in and how that really evolved to other things. It brought Scout on as part of what we do, and Scout initially started as part of that virtual programming, and now is just a very integral part of our programming with children. And so, as we evolve, we needed to make sure that the website, as well as our messaging, really reflected who we are as an organization. And Bonnie and I talked, and the board of directors talked, and now was a great time to really change that brand and change that messaging and change our website to reflect who we are. We want to make sure that we're portraying that story accurately to the public and that we're inviting the public to be a part of that story. And I think that our new brand and our new website does that.
I believe it does too. We're looking at making fundamental changes. And when you make those fundamental changes, everything throughout the organization changes as well. We talk about our brand mark. Our brand mark has some significant symbology behind it. And a lot of our longtime Stuhr constituents will be able to see that. They'll be able to see the top of the Stuhr building. They'll be able to see the sunrise. They'll be able to see the moat that surrounds it. But we really, truly believe that Stuhr Museum is a magical place. And it is going to be the best living history in the United States.
It really will be the best living history museum in the United States. And we are looking beyond the pandemic already, as all of us should be. We're practicing safe measures, all those things. But we're looking at how we can better serve the public once the pandemic is gone. And that includes reopening on Tuesdays to the public. And we are now, once again, open Tuesday through Saturday to the public. And we would definitely invite the public to come and partake in this wonderful place.
Absolutely. And the changes to our website have enabled easier registration, easier giving. The web forms that are integrated into the website provide an easier means of choosing how you'd like to make a difference.
And that community interaction with us is vital, and we recognized that early on, and that really prompted our change and the pursuit of a new website as well as the new brand.
Exactly. It was a lot of work, and it really was worth it.
So I'd like to say thank you for participating in this virtual annual report. I'm very grateful for all of you for tuning in and for partaking in this, but I'm also very grateful for all of our partners, and I'm particularly grateful for you, Bonnie, and the foundation and how you support us.
Thank you, Chris. I'm incredibly grateful for you in moving Stuhr Museum forward, in motivating our teams, and to all of our staff here at Stuhr Museum. We have incredibly talented, incredibly hardworking individuals that really truly believe in what Stuhr Museum does. I'd like to thank all of our donors and our constituents and our corporate partners. And I would like to also thank Scout for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. Now it's time for the classic end of show goodbye wave. Goodbye. Wave with me. Goodbye.